position and improve on it, most importantly. They can't let their standard slip or the game will be gone from them. Big job in front as it is. The Wanderers with the goals lead and some of their big names really showing some pretty impressive form. A warning certainly to the home team Newcastle. You've played well enough so far. Got nothing yet to show for it. It's an oddly familiar refrain.
And their coach, Craig Dean's good enough to join us. How disappointed were you to concede from a set piece there?
Yeah, look, obviously you go into every game expecting to keep a clean sheet from a set piece and you hope that you get one. So, look, obviously very disappointing, especially that early in the game. We were quite comfortable at that point in the game in possession. So, yeah, disappointing.
Only just missing out at the other end. Yule has looked so dangerous for you. Yeah,
look, I think on the balance of the game, we've had probably the better of the chances and more of the ball in dangerous areas. So we need to just make sure we stick to that, maintain our discipline without the ball, and I think we'll get some more chances, but it's about being good enough and clinical enough to take them when they come.
Thanks for your time, mate.
No problem.
Jets ready to kick off the second half, chasing the game. Carl Robinson only just making his way back to the visitors' bench. So can Newcastle turn it around in the second half? Ragas able to keep it away from Troisi. Najarine thought he was entitled to a free kick. Dorrans has been pretty impressive in that first half in midfield. Looks like an astute pickup from Carl Robinson, who's been so busy signing players since arriving in Western Sydney.
Yeah, more work to do there. But Dorrans has showed the benefit of having a game in the A-League and is looking much more solid so far this evening. A couple of really impressive contributions.
Mudakudis gives it plenty of height, and Dorrans is good enough to go back to his keeper.
And Dorrans, playing at the base of the Wanderers midfield, has released Bacchus to a more advanced midfield role.
Cox working hard to present down the line and cries for a handball against the striker. That's brilliant skill. Fantastic play from Tate Russell to open it up for the Wanderers. Now Aquilina dinks it back post, and Connor O'Toole kept it away from a frustrated Simon Cox. Here's Tate Russell again. Bacchus around the corner. Kept on running and took it in his stride. Looks for Aquilina now, who's made the run in. And overhit by Bacchus.
It was a great run out of midfield by Bacchus. Past Connor O'Toole as though he wasn't there. But then looked literally to run out of ideas. Great work from Cox. So much time, not really knowing how to set this up.
How attack-minded is Aquilina? He was the one who got in there as an option from left wing-back.
Well, both he and Tate Russell on the right-hand side are encouraged to do exactly that. Be a free kick for the Wanderers. Yeah, Robinson really urges his wide defenders, overlapping fullbacks, to push up and join the attack. It works on the numbers game. You've got more chance of scoring if you've got more players in the attacking zone. And they're really encouraged to belt up and down those lines. Aquilina on the left, Russell on the right.
He looks as quick as anyone on the pitch. Tom Aquilina, the 19-year-old. Now Muller keeps it low enough for those in the middle. And I think it came off Ziggy Gordon. Goal kick is given. Interesting to see the way the coaches use their benches here this evening. Bernie Abini waits in the wings for Carl Robinson. And then Ali Abbas and Tete Yengi certainly made an impression off the Jets bench last week. Ali Abbas with all of his experience, the Iraqi international. Nazarene copped the double team and gave it up to Troisi. Do your best with that, Simon Cox, and he did. There's Aquilina again. That turn of speed. Look at him go, the kid. And he earns another corner. He is so sharp off the mark.
He did well. Turned out of the tight situation. Carried the ball into the danger zone. Beat Moragas. Nice turn away. Bogard can't clean up the situation. Moragas beaten. And it took the recovery of Jugarkovic to defend the situation ultimately.
Turns 20 next month. Does Tom Aquilina, Maltese father, Aussie mum. Dorrans with Petratos to beat. And to go backwards to Aquilina, who was left on halfway for the corner. Troisi maintained the width. Little touch off Jugarkovic was handy. And Petratos clips one over the top. It'll stay in for O'Donovan. And now the cavalry is on the charge, including Nazarene. Here's Petratos. Breaks for Connor O'Toole. The shot was on target in the first half, but that one was not.
A good attack from Newcastle. Nazarene firing the ball out to Petratos, who takes the option of the early ball into the box, which was a good one as it fell to Connor O'Toole, who belted one home, or homeward, in the first half. He couldn't quite replicate that in the second.
Sign from the Brisbane Roar, Connor O'Toole. Lack of opportunities there in the end. Forced him away. Getting a good run of things in that left-back role for Newcastle. And Donovan talking it over with Daniel Elder. Not convinced by that decision. Good ball by Topo Stanley. And Yule bounces it off. O'Donovan. Valentino Yule trying to squeeze it in at that near post.
Well, he's been a threat all night. Topos with the ball through. This is a really nice 1-2. His touch just takes him a little wide, makes the angle a difficult one. An exciting play from Newcastle again.
Tratos showed too much of it to Aquilina. Russell told to turn. Tries to switch it up. Aquilina got there, but it was a difficult task to keep it in. Closing down by Tate Russell, applauded by his coach. Remember Newcastle protecting that amazing record throughout their A-League time. Never started the season with back-to-back losses. And they work their way back into this contest. Is he onside? That flag goes up. He was trying to hold that line and finishes it off in the end with a little back heel finish. But the whistle had long gone.
Well, clearly offside. The only blemish on his debut so far was the tardy response to that play. He had time to get back on side. He finished the action nicely in the end, and it was certainly worth the exercise. Might have been more for the Wanderers and their very impressive debutant.
Newcastle shielding it away from Muller intelligently. Yule a chance to run at Gordon. And double ricochet back off the number 17 for the goal kick. Muller again bravely putting his head into a contest. Copped that sickening knock when he went head to head with Louis Fenton against Wellington. And the shot in the end, more so than a cross, it appeared, from Tate Russell, had Jack Duncan a little concerned. Plenty going on off the ball before it got to Yule v Ziggy Gordon. He's had his hands full tonight with the live wire winger Ziggy Gordon, but having the last laugh for now, at least, with the only goal of the game. The Scottish defender. Jugarkovic, that's a lovely touch. And outside of his area here, Margush. Now he's stranded if Nazarene can get a shot away. Fans wanted him to shoot. And he was being fouled by Dorrans.
That was great experience from Dorrans. He's just looking to do some trash talking on the way, bit of mental disintegration arriving in the A-League via the top leagues in England. There's very experienced, good defensive play from Dorrans, and also singling out Remy Nazarene as a real danger man for the Wanderers.
Flighted in by Jugarkovic. Here's Angus Thurgate. And athletic block from Simon Cox. Thurgate got that one wrong though. Left it for Nikolai Muller. And Cox, who made the block at one end, teeing one up. Tate Russell! Bang! Second goal in the A-League. He can hit them. This exciting right wing back for Western Sydney celebrates with those travelling fans. They've had some glory here before. They won a Premier's Plate in their inaugural season at this joint, and they're on top again in Newcastle.
Well, it's a horrible breakdown in communication between Thurgate and Moragas right there. That's what all you can put it down to. There's still work to do for the Wanderers. Muller carries the ball with purpose deep into the Jets' territory. There's enough blue shirts at this point to turn things the other way, but they can't quite get close enough. And the poise and experience of Simon Cox rewards one of the overlapping runs. For the umpteenth time, Tate Russell bursts into the attack, and this time he leathers it home.
The adrenaline pumping for Tate Russell, just 21 years of age. That's goal number 2 in A-League game number 29. What an exciting player, the son of a rugby league legend. And his dad said, "No, I'm happy for you to play this code. Your body will remember you when you reach my age." And here he is again, winning it back. Fantastic athlete. And when he gets those opportunities, he's shown his ability to finish a super goal in the FFA Cup, and now 2 wonderful strikes in the A-League. Here's Aquilina, who had his chance to get on the score sheet as well in the first half when he had an airy. And now he's feeling the pinch. Hopefully no more than cramp, but it would be understandable, the running that he has done, and that's why Carl Robinson has Daniel Georgievski as cover in the wing-back roles. Every player seems to love playing for Carl Robinson. He made that point this week. Every player seems to love playing under me. It was almost the quote, word for word. Russell just runs over the top of his man. Pulls it back. Muller! Oh, that's a great save by Bogart ahead of his goalkeeper to keep out Muller's shot. And the Wanderers, they've got 2 goals to their name and could have had a whole lot more tonight.
Well, it's a game in general, Speedy, that could have had more goals. But they got the bit between the teeth now, the visitors. Look at Russell. I mean, that is out of the rugby league DNA. Get out of the way. And Muller aiming for the far post, low. Probably Duncan has it covered anyway. And Petratos irons out the youngster Aquilina, picks up a yellow card.
So Petratos, the second player booked tonight, joining Roy O'Donovan in the book. And we tick past the hour mark in Newcastle. More work for Jack Duncan potentially here as Troisi. This one from the training ground. Muller's delivery back post, kept alive by Bacchus. And teed up for Mutakutis, who was going the wrong way. Coming together inside the 6-yard box that the Wanderers are interested in here. Dylan McGowan, was he fouled or was he committing the foul? Or is it just a coming together?
Well, look at this sequence. He gets a whack on the end, then he lands really awkwardly. Costa Petratos, having just picked up the yellow cards, a little bit gun-shy. Geez, that's an awkward fall by McGowan, who's been outstanding for his team tonight.
Kept alive by Petratos. And Donovan skipped around McGowan. He ran into him. I think he would have got the whistle. Lovely ball. Ugarkovic. Nazarene just overhit. What about the work from Simon Cox in the lead up to that second goal?
Well, I think this, not what a lot of people talk about, but this underlines where the Wanderers are at the moment. Look at Cox, full stretch. The Jets, that's the end of an attacking sequence. And of course, this is the start of the Wanderers' goal-scoring sequence. And there Cox, full stretch, total desperation to stop the forward passage of the ball, and then pops up on the edge of the box to put on the assist for Tate Russell. Great stuff from the Englishman, or Irishman.
Englishman who played for Ireland,
yeah,
courtesy of his...
I know I shouldn't get the two mixed up.
His heritage.
It's super play, great leadership, and a stunning finish from Tate Russell, who thoroughly deserves a goal of that quality to go next to his name. But yeah, that is what it's all about. This less so. Maybe a bit fortunate to escape without sanction.
Well, he wasn't really in shape to play his best football at the back end of last season. He sorted all that out in the off-season. Simon Cox had surgery, sort out issue in the groin, a couple of hernias to sort out as well. And he shed 10 kilos and he's able to run out games again and turn back the clock 3 or 4 years or so. Carl Robinson are coming together with Nigel Bogart, and guess who's the villain in that piece as well? Russell latches onto it, gives Muller one to chase. Straight into a goal-scoring area too, Tate Russell. Bogart with the follow-up work after Topor Stanley's initial clearance. Substitutes warming up at both ends in the 64th minute. Do you think Newcastle need to pull the trigger on a couple?
Oh, certainly they need a spark. Oh, that sounds a little critical. It's not as though they're flat, but they're 2 down. They've had plenty of the game. They've got nothing to show for it. And he's got to pull a trick from somewhere. Craig Deans. Ali Abbas was great off the bench last week. I'm just Roy O'Donovan, who's been busy, but he's sitting on that yellow card. Same with Petrados. In a game that's been played on fine margins, plenty of intensity, pretty strong tackles and a lot of speed in the game. Players on yellow cards, just that little bit more exposed.
There's a look at the substitutes available. Tete Yengi, big striker, 1.96 m, is a handful. Might see him soon. At the moment, the Jets have another corner to contend with. And Troisi will deliver it. Nikolai Muller coming across as the short option. In fact, he will take it. Gordon making his run from deep this time. He was among the targets. Bogard first to it. Dorrans with the first time ball for Bacchus. And now Ziggy Gordon, not really his kind of finish. The header was more his go. But Mark Bosnich, where do you see the game at right now?
Well, right now, this second half, it's been, I mean, the first half, the balance of play, you have to say, went to Newcastle, but the Wanderers have completely dominated this second half. And look, it must be foremost, well, it should be foremost in Craig Dean's and his staff's mind to make the changes, because if they don't make any changes soon, I believe that Wanderers will get a third goal. Massive difference for the Wanderers from last week. The one thing that I've picked up, the two wide men, Aquilina and Tate Russell, are starting far higher. It's giving them extra people in midfield, and this is where their dominance is coming from.
Anyone who watched the Wanderers' first game against MacArthur, the impact that Aquilina made when he came off the bench almost demanded a starting berth tonight, and Carl Robinson saw that and brought the youngster into his 11, and it's paid dividends.
Well, the best part of the night, Speedy, is it's only 66 minutes gone. I mean, there's been so much action. And Wanderers too clear. They're looking very, very strong at the moment. And the challenge for the Jets is to keep believing. They've made enough chances not to be behind tonight. Well, they're finding the going more difficult in this second half. And just the game's pattern has to change. A player can do it off the bench, spark things up a bit.
Here goes Russell again. The meat and the sandwich, but he kept it alive. And Bogard across in time. A very near thing again for Newcastle at the back. Ugarkovic was clattered into after he got the pass away. The advantage accrued though. And now O'Toole showed too much to Ziggy Gordon that time. And it is a yellow card for what happened earlier. And that foul on Ugarkovic. James Troisi is cautioned. And now we're going to see some changes. And the boos being reserved for this man, Bernie Abini, who played just over a handful of games in Newcastle colours last season. Part of a double change here. A couple of attackers coming on for Carl Robinson. Kwame Yeboah as well. And Tete Yengi already out there for Newcastle. Second game for the club after catching the eye in the South Australian NPL. One goal in particular for the Adelaide Comets was out of this world. And Simon Cox has played his part tonight, as identified by Andy Harper. A block at one end and then an assist at the other on the second goal.
Yeah, big changes these for the Wanderers. Muller looked great. Cox, very impressive. Welcome home, Bernie.
Of course, his home is Western Sydney. That's why he was delighted to get back to that club. But Newcastle was his home for a brief moment there.
Yeah, Yeboah and Abini, two fabulous players in their own right, and a big job, because Cox and Muller leave a big hole now. Big, massive contribution from the two foreigners.
Yengi and Yule on the pitch together. Good mates from South Australia. I think they're flatting together here in Newcastle as well. There's Yengi again. Younger brother of Cassini, who plays with Adelaide United. Already looking forward to their first duel, which is a little way off, of course, with the current conference fixture setup.
He, off the bench last week, had some good touches, looked a little nervous, understandably.
That's a nice move inside and dealt with by Mudakudis.
But will be better for the run, and I think A-League viewers in general should be looking forward to seeing him chase down a ball that's hit over the top. He's got blinding speed. It will be a very exciting thing to see if it can come to pass. In the meantime, Dorrans on Nazarene again. Key matchup.
Final warning, perhaps. Could go into the book if he makes another one of those challenges you fancy. Nazarene, stunning layoff for Yule, who hangs it up for Yengi and almost brought it down for himself in the end. Isn't Nazarene an exciting player to watch? He's got all the skills. Poked away by Aquilina. Robbed Moragas. He's got Yeboah. And Abini on the follow-up. Newcastle recruit defensively. A little bit of fortune about it as well. Game really opening up here. Inside the final 20 minutes of the 90. Nazarene on the stretch. And he's fouled ultimately by Dorrans, and here comes that yellow card.
Well, Newcastle need Nazarene to break the shackles free. He's been kept quiet this second half, but the last couple of moments, and interestingly, Dorrans just stretching out his calf. Maybe a little bit of tiredness is giving Nazarene that extra space. That he can lead the Jets out of this with his wizardry. The ball fired through. Well, this was the play before. He is a player with plenty of beautiful touches.
What can he dish up here? He waits over the set piece after Dorrans committed the foul. That's an argument to say maybe Nazarene committed the first one there, but it doesn't matter anymore. Bench utilised again. Lockie Jackson on for Moragas. He can play in that left back role. The big defender. And here's an A-League debut for Blake Archbold. Local product from Cessnock. Plenty of family and friends here to watch him tonight. Nazarene, awkward area, and they pull one back. It's a captain's goal from Nigel Bogart. Game on in Newcastle.
Well, this set piece from Remy Nazarene has Diamante-type curl on it. He whips it in, and Bogart with the faintest of touches, but it's enough to get over the outstretched arm of Daniel Margush. His weight going, understandably, completely the other way. It's a beautiful free kick. Bogart on the end. Lifeline for the Jets. Hang on to your hats, folks.
Big year for Nigel Bogart, 34 years of age now. Final year of his contract, keen for more years here in Newcastle, and he has his 8th A-League goal. 250 plus games of experience. Abini hears the boos. Clips off the heels of Bacchus. Abini left one in on Connor O'Toole. The grudge match is delivering in Friday night football.
Well, the Jets might have been down and out. Indeed, they might have scored before then, but the game had delivered 2 for the Wanderers and nothing for the Jets. And this is a game that had at least a goal in it for the Jets, and Bogart's captain's knock, literally, has breathed life back into their campaign. in this game. It's been a fabulous Friday night here in Newcastle. And the Wanderers were looking so strong. And just bookmark, and to repeat, just bookmark the timing of that double substitution of Cox and Muller.
Here comes Tese Yengi into the midriff of the defender McGowan. Nazarene. And Ugarkovic capable of finding the bottom corner with a strike like that. It was going well wide. Last touch McGowan though.
Well, the fans who are here in good numbers, considering the restrictions and everything else, they'll start to sense something here. And they'll start to cheer their team on longer and louder.
Can their team be the masked Avengers here in the second half? Bent towards the penalty spot. Thurgate lurking with intent. Another corner.
Good defending, Murder-Kudus. Was about that angle last week against the Mariners. Thurgate cut the ball onto his left and forced brilliance out of Birigidi. This time he takes the odds to carry the ball beyond the defence, but he couldn't get rid of Murder-Kudus. He stayed on duty. But the Wanderers have to stand tall here again to see this corner away.
Here's the variation. Back to Ugarkovic. Little deflection through to Yengi. And the follow-up shot just over the bar from Angus Thurgate. The history of this fixture, it's all locked up. 8 wins each, 7 draws, and Newcastle hunting at least another draw here as O'Doherty is called upon.
Well, it's dropped into the danger zone. Bernie Abini nods it clear with the help of a deflection. It sits up reasonably favourably for Thurgate. He does ever so well to make that as dangerous as it was.
So Dorrans on that yellow card is withdrawn. Probably slated for that kind of game time as he works his way up to absolute peak fitness. And O'Doherty asked to wrest back control in midfield. Will get his first touch here. I think it's a Jets throw. And eventually the signal came that way. What a moment for young Archbold. Cristiano Ronaldo worshipper. As many a young footballer is. Here's a beanie. Poked away by Ugarkovic. And here goes the man of the moment, Bogart. Classy little ball for Nazarene. Not so for Valentino Yule.
No, it's an unusual misread from Nazarene. It has been good in the moments he's been involved, like really good. That'll be a foul and Bogart didn't muck around.
That was a big whack for Kwame Yeboah.
Well, there's not a lot of intent for the ball there. It's got to be a candidate for a yellow card, really. And Nige, you know, is a big representative of the players' cause in general, but you know, that is potentially dangerous. But definitely a yellow card minimum.
No stranger to seeing a sanction. 71 yellows and 10 reds in his career. It's the goal that he scored a moment ago that has given his club life here. Gordon opened the scoring tonight. Very similar kind of finish. And a similar delivery from a left footer. First Troisi and then Nazarene. Mark Bosnich, how's the atmosphere now? The Jets fans right into it?
Right into it. There's going to be a long 15 minutes or so for the Western Sydney Wanderers. Absolutely cruising, like you said, but here's a chance now.
Abini found by a super ball, and he fluffs his lines, Bernie Abini. That pleases the Jets fans. What a fabulous ball from O'Doherty. It deserved a finish.
Outstanding. And Lockie Jackson just off the bench. Oh no, says Lockie. He's doing 10 to the dozen. Can I breathe heavy? Can I do something to put him off? He stays in the contest, and just that little bit of pressure you expect was enough for Bernie to miss what was a good chance and might have gone close to tying this one up. It's been a game that's had plenty of fluctuation, so it's, I guess, in one sense, way too early to go off that early, but a 2-goal deficit at this point would have been a massive task for the Jets, who've muscled their way well back into this.
Another nice contribution from Jordan O'Doherty. Another young man out of Adelaide. Topple Stanley copped a nudge there, and that's why he gets the decision in the end. Free kick against Tate Russell for shoving Topple Stanley out of the way. Yengi the target. No damage done with the flick on. Thurgate in amongst a couple of opponents. Again, it's O'Doherty finding a beanie. Kwame Yeboah stretching out. Only a beanie to look for with a forward pass. So back to the busy Jordan O'Doherty. Back from an ACL a couple of years back. Aquilina around the corner for Bernie. Took it back off Nazarene.
Yeah, that was a moment Remy Nazarene just needed to be much stronger. He was given the foul away to compound things, but if he's stronger, and you've got a sense, you've got a sniff that Bernie's going to come for you. You've got the ball comfortably in possession. You can protect it and break away and really set Newcastle away. And it was he just lacked that little bit of strength, I think, mentally to win that. Outpointed by Bernie Abini. He did very well to dispossess the Newcastle Jets playmaker.
Last time the Wanderers blew a 2-0 lead against Newcastle. Nigel Bogard scored the first one, and then the comeback was completed later. They're trying to do the same here. Andrew Hall scored a late equaliser against Andrew Redmayne in goal, if I'm not mistaken. Here comes Maki Petratos. And off goes Valentino Yule, gets a nice reception. I love Maki Petratos, about the only bloke on the pitch again with his shirt tucked in. Really stands out when someone does it. And what about the Petratos family? Just a factory of footballers. And isn't Dimi going great guns in Saudi Arabia right now, the former Jet? 6 goals in 12 games with Al Wada, including a hat-trick. The ball still in. And Yeboah riding through challenges. Eventually upended, but back to his feet in a hurry. Tate Russell. At the moment, his goal represents the winning goal. Yengi trying to slide it down the line for the latest substitute. It's a clear foul by Bacchus. Plenty going on in the respective technical areas right now. Both coaches trying to keep their team in the right kind of positions to avert any dramas defensively, and also try and create a goal-scoring chance, of course. That's paramount for the Newcastle Jets here. Young Archbold again. Garkovic goes backwards. There was an option to go back to Archbold once more. Bogard flighting one for Connor O'Toole in that advanced position. Thurgate, back post delivery, awkward for Mutakutis, driven back in by Ugarkovic, and another second ball picked up by Thurgate. Little dink. Thurgate can bring it under his control. Abini working hard and upended by Ugarkovic.
Yeah, that's great work from Bernie, dropping back to help the defence. Who the Wanderers have stabilised after being under the pump in recent times, but that was a key defensive moment from Bernie Abini, because The Jets had numbers in the box, the ball being fed in dangerously, and they were stretched. They needed that extra effort from the substitute striker, Bernie Abini.
It was clever by Ugarkovic. About the only time you get away with kicking the ball away is when it actually goes back to where the infringement occurred on the rebound.
There's another variation on the wall pass, Speedy.
Yes. That's lovely skill. Nazarene. Oh, brilliant. And O'Doherty, somewhat cynical the way that he committed the foul. He'd had enough of Nazarene's tricks.
Well, he's showing plenty. Remy Nazarene, a game and 4/5 in, or 5/6. He's showing plenty for his new fan base in Newcastle. Can he show just a little bit more to get him back level here?
Already one assist. Goes deep here. Topo Stanley is forward. Last touch, Abini.
Well, brought on probably to seal the game in an attacking sense, and truth be told, he did have one great chance, Bernie Abini, but he's put that to the back of his mind. He's rolling his sleeves up. He's doing a lot of defensive work for his team here. Here he is wrestling with Topo Stanley and Bogart. Taking both on, conceding the corner.
Nazarene to take it away from goal this time. Little flick off McGowan might have been handy. Back in by Ugarkovic, helped on by Jackson, and the goalkeeper was off his line fractionally. It never came down in time for the Jets.
I'm not quite sure if the looping header was Lockie Jackson's preferred option. Margush never really looked troubled as he repositioned himself.
Don't forget more A-League action tomorrow. Macarthur FC back at Campbelltown, playing host to Wellington this time. The only other game this weekend in the A-League, so be sure to tune in for that one. Oh, there's more frustration on the Newcastle bench. Daniel McBreen has used his left foot to devastating effect again. Gave the advertising hoarding a real workout there. Aquilina, this time the attack is narrow for Western Sydney. They'd love a spell of possession. Haven't had a whole lot of it lately. Closed down is Gordon. It ricochets for Maki Petratos. Here comes Nazarene. Can he play him in? Taken a little wide, Rami Nazarene. Across the face. Archbold tried to dribble his way and flick his way through. Kept alive by Jackson. Nazarene into the area. Little 1-2 with Petratos. Great defending. Tate Russell ahead of Yengi. Back in there for Yengi to attack, and it's going to come back. Great refereeing. Daniel Elder saw there was no advantage accruing in the penalty area.
What thrilling attack from Newcastle. Remy Nazarene really setting the electricity through the place. Sent a little bit wide, in fairness, by Maki Petratos. He still made something of it. Then the next chance comes. There's a little bit of innovation there as well. Beautiful from Archbold. And a magnificent 1-2 here between the youngsters. Nazarene to Maki Petratos. This thrilling play from Newcastle in what has been a thrilling game here.
Daniel McBreen has now calmed down after copping that yellow card, the assistant coach of the Jets. Nazarene. Bogart in there again. Cries for handball against Bogart, I think. Still alive here for Nazarene. And Yeboah came across in time. Still going. Kwame Yeboah. Great endeavour. He looks second favourite on multiple occasions there. And in the end, Nazarene just holds him back.
Well, that's a signature play from Yeboah in the context of the Wanderers tonight. They've just fought so hard. They've had some real quality moments as well. But you don't get much in this game unless you're prepared to fight. And that was superb from Yeboah.
Topor Stanley searching for options. And Tete Yengi maintained some width here. And showed too much to take Russell. Shoulder to shoulder he went. Here's O'Doherty. And he ran shoulder to shoulder into Ugarkovic. That's a foul by Abini. Referee knows there's flashpoint potential here. And more delight for the Newcastle fans as Abini is cautioned.
Well, we're approaching stoppage time. And if the Wanderers can steer this one home, the yellow card won't bother Bernie Abini at all.
Ball and all challenge from Mutakutis as Maki Petratos tried to turn the corner on him. Jackson, a little shank off his right side. The left footer. How much stoppage time? Alex King, the fourth official, about to let everyone know that 4 minutes is there for the Jets to try and fashion an equaliser. And for the Wanderers to hold on for their first win under Carl Robinson.
Well, excellent from Yeboah. He's just decided that he's not going to be beaten. Anytime the ball comes near him, his team needs him to secure possession. Fight for the shirt. He's done exactly that, and he's won that free kick. It's really impressive off the bench in that facet of the game.
Strange free kick from Mutakutis, straight out of play, giving the ball back to the Jets. He copped a stray arm there, Kwame Yeboah. From Lockie Jackson, he's staying down too, but no foul seen. And the Jets allowed to keep on rolling. Yeboah back to his feet a second time. Quarter of the way through stoppage time. Archbold, lovely first time ball for Nazarene. Driven in low, and that favoured Gordon. Beanie gave it back to Nazarene. Dangerous thing to do. They can open up the pitch here on that left-hand side now. Ball deflecting around. Almost broke for Connor O'Toole.
Look at that. It's wonderful. I mean, you know, there's beautiful parts of the game which are well celebrated, but this grit and determination from the Wanderers, throwing their bodies at everything.
So close to the 3 points. And they kept that one in. No goal kick given up. They can try and squeeze the Wanderers into that corner now. Thurgate wasn't sure what the decision was. Tate Russell given a warning about time wasting. Maki Petratos has done some nice things already in his little cameo. Western Sydney are almost there. But there have been some famous late goals for Newcastle at this venue. They'd love another one here to take the smile off Carl Robinson's face. Bowled out to Archbold. Look how high up the pitch Aquilina is forcing him backwards. Recovered well from that bout of cramp about half an hour ago. Final minute of stoppage time. Topor Stanley will find Maki Petratos again. Thurgate is forward down that left-hand side. Petratos in towards Yengi. Brings it down for Thurgate, and Russell got there again. It's got to be now for Newcastle. One last crack at it. There's no time, in fact. Carl Robinson's first win as Western Sydney coach comes in Newcastle. Of course it does. That's what the A-League scriptwriters deliver. Bernie Abini, despite spurning a wonderful chance to make those points safe, is on the winning side in the end back in Newcastle as well, as the Villains leave with the chocolates tonight in the Hunter. A fabulous goal wins it as well. Tate Russell blasted it home, an unstoppable shot in the 57th minute. Bogard pulled one back for the Jets, but it wasn't enough. Full time. Western Sydney 2, Newcastle 1.
Yeah, thanks to Harps, thanks to Speedy there. Fantastic call from the boys for what was a fantastic second half of A-League football, Mark Bosnich. Newcastle Jets rallying late on, but ultimately the Wanderers just too good for them in that second half.
And deservedly so. Fantastic game of football for the whole 90 minutes, James. Really enjoyed it. As we're talking, it's starting to rain, and just to touch on that, when the conditions are like this, lovely 21, 22 degrees, you can see the exact quality and the excitement that these boys can produce in the A-League. But the Jets did rally. They got a free kick in a dangerous position, and that was a wonderful free kick that was put in by Nazarene. They huffed and puffed a little bit, but Wanderers were dominant for me in the second half with a better team. First half, that may have been a little bit different, but the bottom line is, when you think back to it, if Aquilina puts that one away before half-time, then it's quite convincing. Also, Bernie Abini had a wonderful chance to finish it off, and he didn't do it as well. But overall, like I said to you, a really good game, really enjoyable. What are we going to do about this rain, by the way?
We'll have to grin and bear it, Boz. Carl Robinson said during the week that he wanted to see the team play more.
Yeah.
And they certainly did in the second half, but their defensive rearguard action in particular was magnificent.
Look, they were fantastic at the back. Ziggy Gordon, he had a bit of a shaky start. Yule started to run him a little bit, but McGowan and especially Mordakoudis. Mordakoudis, for me, was one of the best players on the park. He was absolutely fantastic. Another point as well that I thought in the first game, which was one thing that when Tate Russell and it was Georgeski in the first game were playing, naturally defensive players were pushing right back sometimes to make a 5 at the back. That's understandable at times, but when the opposition have only got 3 up front, you don't need 2 extra men. Today, it was nominally a 3 at the back. Very rarely you saw Aquilina or Tate Russell starting positions was in the back 4 or 5, if you like. They were starting off in midfield, and that's what gave them the dominance. And you also saw the difference with Aquilina, who should have scored as well. He played excellent today. I would give him man of the match if he'd scored before half-time. And Tate Russell, that goal he scored in the second half, was basically as well because of their starting positions.
And for the Jets, boss, I suppose there are positives. It is another defeat for them, but the second half performance in particular was very good. But what about this goal from Tate Russell? Simon Cox in particular, magnificent work.
You know, when I'm watching goals and I need to talk on these, I always think, why did this happen? Okay, well, first and foremost here, there was a mistake by the Newcastle players, but then